Hey guys, it's Kazi here. We're going to go ahead and talk about the new Festival of Battles that we just got on Dokkan Battle. So, this one's going to be a bit of a longer video. I kind of want to cover as many topics as I can about this mission because I know a lot of people are having issues with this one. For starters, I just want to go ahead and just show a team real quick. Boom, right there. So, this team I think is going to be the one to beat it. Couple key notes about this. We'll talk about these characters a little bit more in detail in just a second. But note the friend unit being another Vegito. It's kind of crucial to running this team. Yes, that means you do get a weaker buff because you don't have two Gojitas as a lead. The Gojitas as a lead fully cover what do you call it, the seventh tier LR EZAs, so they get significantly more stats than if they had, let's say, two Vegito leads. It's just how it is. They're not under the full 250, 220, 220. But on Gogeta, they are. But it's really, really crucial that we run two Vegetos on this one because we are really, really struggling for damage on this event. I would say damage significantly more than defense. Specifically getting characters that can hold their own towards the end of the fight while simultaneously dishing out like loads and loads of damage, because the two final bosses do ridiculous amounts of damage and have ridiculous amounts of HP. So I just want to go ahead and note, we'll play little sections of this video. This isn't the run that I used to actually beat the event. I have the end of the event for the run that I did to actually beat the event, but I don't have like the completed recording of it because we'll get a little bit more into that. But basically, this is not like you don't want to just be sitting recording like at your desk trying to play this event. This is very much so a pastime event. Like, oh, I do stages 1 through 40 like in my bed or, you know, in the middle of like doing work and stuff like that. It's very, very mind numbing, and it's a very, very boring event, more so difficult. I would say the real event doesn't begin until when I start recording on the actual run that I beat it with. So this is just a team that I use. I use this exact team. The only difference is, as you note, the support memory is the Goku's Family 1. Indefinite attack and defense of 20% for Goku's Family. Everyone on this team is covered by Goku's Family except for the 7th tier LR EZAs. And that is actually really, really good for us because since they don't get the additional attack and defensive buffs early, specifically the attack early, they're actually able to stack more in the earlier stages. Because in the early stages, we'll look at the stats in just a moment, they don't have a lot of HP, they don't have a lot of defense. So you kind of just one-tap them. Especially if you start like buffing up the 7th tiers so early. But thankfully, we have this right here. It's literally a perfect one for us because it covers most of our team that we need to do damage towards the end of the game. And it doesn't cover like the two main people that we want to just be stacking for like ever. But right here, note the support items. I ended up taking two Whis and then the Takoyaki. The Takoyaki could work. I actually much rather you guys take the Bulma support item. That item will give you, for 5 turns, 25% attack on your entire on all of your cards, pretty much. For 5 turns, all your cards do 25% more attack. I think it's 20%. Either way, huge attack buff. I think it's going to be a little bit better than the Takoyaki. My only issue with the Takoyaki is, obviously, they're for the Vegetos, right? Both of them are going to be for the Vegetos. But just having the entire rotation do more damage than just having like one nuke for a Vegeto, I found to be a little bit better overall, especially towards the end of the fight when the run is like really, really on the line and it's like a time crunch to actually do damage. Better if every single person, especially the people who have literally spent the entire game stacking, also get a little bit of a buff to go ahead and take us over the finish line. So right here, I really, really like this team. We're going to talk about the cards in just 1 second. But yeah, I would heavily recommend this team. This is probably the team that most people are going to be beating the event with, or something similar to this. Maybe a couple of like tweaks. But for the most part, this is just the team to do it. Can you do it without 10th tiers? Of course, yeah, 1000%. You could do it with double Gogeta elites, the LR Super Saiyan, or the LR 7th tier EZAs. You could definitely do it with double Gogeta elites. I've just found that this one is going to give you the most bang for your buck in terms of a team, and it's going to prevent you from wasting a lot of time. So we have this. Let's just go ahead and snap back to the festival. Talk a little bit about it. So big thing is, for the first 1 to 15 phases, you get 3 charges. What does that mean? That means you have 3 attacks. You could perform 3 attacks after you perform 3 attacks, the event's going to end. 1 to 15. So it's really, really important that you guys know when you get additional charges. Yes, it tells you on the screen, but it's very, very important that you know like when the pretty much the next phase starts, because the bosses actually get quite a bit harder. So if we just pull up, oh sorry, I was gonna show you the rewards. If you just pull up, where is the actual event? Right here. You just do this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Right here is the turn. Right here, and then you're gonna get more charges, meaning that you'll have 2 turns to complete the event and not just 1. It's really, really important that you guys kind of like make a mental note, like, okay, when I get to this guy, I'll have 2 turns to beat him. That's really, really important. And then I think the next big one, because you stay on 6 charges, which is 2 turns for a significant portion of the fight, which helps out a lot with stacking too, because you can kind of like relax a little bit. You don't have to go like all crazy with damage. But when you get to the 9th charge right here, 41 through 48, I believe that is, I might just be able to eyeball this one. I think it's the full power, yeah, right here. Full power Goku. I'm pretty sure this is it. The reason I'm pretty sure that this is it is because look at the jump in damage for the for the boss. It's pretty apparent. It basically doubled the damage is what you're gonna get right here. And then as you notice with the HP too, pretty big jump. But from this point on, yeah, the battle just gets significantly worse. So 50, 49, 48, 47, 46, 45, 44, 43, 42, 41. Yep, phase 41. Okay. Now that we've noted, okay, this is what makes the event hard is because you're timed. Well, since you're timed, that means you need to hit certain damage thresholds before these charges run out, right? It's pretty basic. And then when you get to the final finish line, or when you get to the finish line period, right here, these final 2 phases, which are the Vegito and the Gogeta, we'll talk a little bit more about their stats in a second, but you have 4 turns. So we already know our teams, we know our items is going to be Whis and then the Bulma, not the Takoyaki, the Bulma. And then our support member is going to be the Goku's family, because we want these guys to stack up a little bit more. We want them to do less damage early, stack up more defense early. That's literally it. Okay, so first couple stages, very, very easy. 750, 300 million, or yeah, 300 million HP. They die immediately. Your cards are absolutely ridiculous. You're using basically all brand new cards. Cards that literally just came out this celebration on that team I gave you. These guys are dying really, really quickly. What I want you to do for your rotations, so we're going to play this a little bit, is you want to do a rotation similar to this. For the first couple of stages, you want to put your 7th years in the first slot, and you want to get them specifically 17 key. Why 17 key? Where are they? He's probably like one of the last ones. When you get 17 key, you launch a guaranteed additional super attack. You don't want to get them 20 key early. When you get them 20 key or more, they become attacks effective against all types. That means they're doing significantly more damage against all units when you get them that. You want to get them that 17 key. That's gonna be the goal. You want to get them that 17 key. I was a little bit under right here, but you want to get them that 17 key to get that guaranteed additional super attack, and that's it. You want to keep basically mimicking that for as long as you can. And then 2 here with the Great Ape, like I was saying, you have 1 turn to kill this guy. We do it early because once you get to Super Saiyan 4 Goku, he stacks. He stacks attack and defense. He's also going to support the entire rotation as well. So you want to get that guy pretty early, even though I will admit he does do a lot of damage, and he could be like kind of a liability early because of how much damage he does, because he's pretty much always going to be critting. Because he builds up crit to 100% and builds up key, like significant key. Like I'm talking about, this guy's pretty much always going to have 24 key. He stacks fairly quickly, not as quick as the other cards, because he only raises attack and defense. Like period, he doesn't greatly raise attack and defense like the other stackers do. It's just raise attack and defense. But like I said, his 18 key is going to support the entire rotation for multiple turns. Every time that you give him a 24 key, not only is he going to give an additional super attack, but like I said, he's building up crit. So he's pretty much always going to be critting. So you get this guy to like hell 20 phases in the game. If he gets hit a couple of times, like the guy's going to be guaranteed critting. gonna be supporting the entire rotation. He's gonna be throwing 2 super attacks every single turn because you're always gonna be at 24 key. You're not gonna have key struggles. So he's just like a really, really good card that, yes, does a lot of damage early game that could really, really become a liability. But towards the mid game, he is like an all-star. He makes the entire team look absolutely fabulous. Specifically, you want to get 17 key for the 7th year LR EZAs right there to get that just the additional. You don't want the super effective against all types for the 20. And you want to get the 20 key for the 10th year cards. Because when you get the 20 key for the 10th years, where is it? 20 key, launch an additional attack. It's the same with them as well. It's the same with all the forms. 20 key, you launch the additional attack. So for the 10th years, you want 20 key. You can't stop them from doing super effective against all types, by the way. When they're in these primal forms is what I call them, the forms where they're stacking, greatly stacking attack. They're always going to be doing it because you get it at 10. Well, you get it at 10 as well, right? Yeah, you get it at 10. So they're just going to be doing crazy damage. So what I like to do, find it, as you saw from just a little glimpse right there, I like to work on them a little bit later in the fight. This is a rotation that I really, really enjoy. We have our Super Saiyan 4 Goku. We put him in the first slot. Yes, he's going to do a crazy amount of damage to this guy. But he's going to raise all of our attack and defense for multiple turns right here. And he's going to get 2 stacks in. These guys, they have a little bit too much key, but it's whatever. This guy has like absolutely no HP right now. He's getting cooked this turn. But this rotation is what I like. And then specifically, if you look down on this right, we can move forward a little bit. I just want to show you guys the... Oh, wow. So does it really just go straight to that? There it goes. We want this rotation too. Oh, this is 30. Oh my. Yep. This rotation right here. You want the 7th year LRs paired up with this Goku. This Nameku, he stacks ridiculously fast. I'm talking about like what I found the best is you put him in the first slot and you want to kind of juggle him. So you put him in the first slot, let him get hit. He's going to do his couple of attacks while I get his stacks in him. And then on the next turn, we'll pull up his kit real quick so you can see it. Put him in that first slot. The damage reduction attack doesn't matter. You put him in the first slot. And then for when he's going to be building up this right here, infinitely, the key, that'll help him with his key. And then right here as well. This is really, really good right here. This attack and defense. Once you get it, it doesn't go away. It's not like freezes where you have to refresh it. Put him in the first slot, let him get hit. He's gonna come up with there's like a little icon, it's like multiple punches. Where is it? Yeah, right here. After receiving attack, launches an additional super attack for 4 turns. A little punch is gonna come up. It's really easy to see it. Just pull up your character, you're gonna see the icon, you're gonna see the punch if you have it or not. Make sure he has the punch up. Put this guy in the 2nd slot on the next turn, put the 7th years in the 1st slot, let the 7th years go crazy on their damage, and then just let him just go ahead and keep stacking. Eventually, he's going to hit... I like to swap him into the floater position around 4 million. And I am, like, extremely serious. I've swapped him at 3.5. I think on my winning run, I swapped him a little bit later. I think he was about 4.2. By the time I had him at the very, very end of the fight, I believe he was sitting at 13 million. That's him in a floater position. And the reason why he can do that is because of the launching an additional super attack for 4 turns. Because towards the end of the fight, like, let's just pull up... I'd say right about here. This Super Saiyan 3 Goku, right about here is where the boss has enough HP. What do you call it? Specifically HP and defense that you're not instantly killing the guy. Like I was taking out like a lot of these guys in like 2 turns, but you could slow down really, really heavily. If you do exactly what I was saying with the 7th years, which is not getting them that 20 key, focusing on getting them the 17 key. Because they're going to greatly raise their attack and defense regardless. Like, we'll just pull it. Like, look. Greatly raise attack and defense, 12 key. Ultra, same thing. All this does is less damage. Less damage, which is what? It's good. Because we want to stay in these terrible... We want to stay in these stages right here. Especially these couple ones right here. These are pretty easy. You want to stay in these types of stages for as long as possible to stack. Because once you start getting into a stage like this, 3.3, this is when you hit like the oh shit stage. You're like, oh man, I could kind of die right here. Like if the wrong person gets hit, you could die right here. Even this late in the event, believe it or not. Even this late in the event. obviously some of your cards are going to be able to like withstand a lot of the brunt force. But specifically when we get to that stage, it looks really, really, really good if you slow down in the early phases by getting that 17 key on the 7th years and just easing your way into the next portion of the fight. But yeah, so right here is when we start thinking about floating some of these cards off. I'm trying to remember. I have a specific way I like to do. I think this was it. Yeah, I think this is it right here is when I float. Yeah, I think that's yeah, we have this one. Let me just make sure. Did we float you right here? Yeah, we did. Okay. Eventually, this guy, he got floated. Let me see. Can we see his stats? I want to see when I floated this guy on this run. Because I know this isn't the run that we won. 4 million. Yep, 4 million right here. 4 million defense. We said, fuck it. We need to start working on these guys now. So, roughly, what is this? This is Goku. No, this is like early. This is really early. Right here. Right here. Before we even get to the 5th year, we're going to go ahead and float these guys off. It's perfect timing. We float them off at 4 million. We start working on these guys right here. As you can see, we started working on the defense first for Vegito. What I like to do is, for one, you want to kind of keep these guys here until you get until you get a Vegito and then a Gogeta. That I found to be the best way to do this shit, because I normally will run with 2 Vegetos. That's just kind of the way to beat it. 2 Vegetos. So boom and boom right here. We'll float this guy off. Like I said, he's good. He's good. He's gonna be perfectly fine. Next time we see him, he's going to have ridiculous numbers. We almost will never have to worry about him until we get to like the very last 3 phases where like people are doing like 17 plus million and stuff like that. And he has like type disadvantage. Like Glorio is a big one that I remember. I actually had to use a Whis to protect him. He had like 13, I think, million defense, and just his 20% damage reduction wasn't going to be enough to stop the Glorio. He was doing 17.5 on a super attack, and he has type advantage against him. He's physical, and then the Goku is int. But with that additional 40% damage reduction from the Whis, we were able to live it. And that was the reason why we ended up beating it. What do you call it? On the run, we actually did beat it. But yeah, basically you want to do something like this. Now, we're not very deep in the game. Look, only 5 health bar. We're not deep in the game at all. We're only, 18 turns deep. We've already hit 4 million, which is a sweet spot for him. The sweet spot for the 7th years I found is roughly about 3-ish million. You're chilling on your Vegetos. It's a little bit difficult with the Gogetas. What I've found to be best is because you have a floating Vegito as well as a Vegito that's on rotation that you work on. What I like to do is I will keep the Vegito I'm working on. I'll pair it with my Gogeta, the only Gogeta that we have on a squad right here, and then I'll have these guys float. I normally don't float them until this guy's ready to go. When he's ready to go is when I like send them to the wolves as well, because they're not too far behind Goku, and they also stack fairly quickly as well. You might not see the returns on them as quickly as you'll see the returns on Goku when you float them, but they'll be there. Trust me, they'll be there. Eventually we get to a position like this right here, where we have the Gogeta here now. We have them. Okay, I'm gonna back up a little bit. What do you call it? Oh, we actually kept them on rotation right here. Let me see. When did I decide to? 4 million. 4 million right here. It looks like this is when I decide to just go ahead and say yep and float them off. And then we move forward. Actually, no, we kept them, sorry. When do we float you off? As you can see, we keep these guys right here. We keep them coming. This is like this is our solidified rotation. This rotation almost never gets broken up. The Super Saiyan 4 Goku and them. Because Saiyan is really, really powerful. And like I said, he has the multiple turn support, so he just makes all of our units look better. You want to pretty much keep him chaining those. This finally it? Yeah, this is it right here. This is when we finally break them up. Let's see if we can get a damage calc on this. 5 million is when we broke up the 7th year duos. So a little bit stronger than what we did for, or a little bit later than what we did for the Goku, but this is when we break them up. And as you can see, we have the Goku right here. And the reason why we did the Goku right here is because he only has 500k defense. Whereas the Vegito that we already worked on right here, we put the Goku here. He already has 2 million because we were working on him in the primary slot, and then we had them in the secondary slot. We caught for the past couple turns since we lost the Goku. So that's kind of how you want to do it. You want to juggle these guys. This guy gets about 2 milli is where I'm pretty comfortable with at this point in the fight. Boom, we start working on the Gogeta. We're gonna get him 1.5 ish million, and then we're good. We're good to go. We can swap between them. What I found to work really, really well is when we get to specifically this point right here, when we're like, okay, we can work on the defense for Gogeta. This guy's good right here. What I'll do right here is the next time I get this Vegeta right here, I'm floating this guy. I'm floating him because given the opportunity to work on defense, I don't want this guy to be here for me to work on defense. I need to work on this guy's defense. So when the time comes, we're going to swap out this friend that we've been working on because he's already good. We're going to push him off rotation, and we're going to keep him as a Goku because the Goku does better in slot 2 and 3. And we're going to let him build up attack because we've already built up his defense. So we're going to let him build up attack. We're going to get mine over here on this rotation with this same Gogeta. This Gogeta don't go nowhere. Gogeta's always here. Gogeta's going to look fantastic at the end of the fight. And we're just going to go ahead and swap him to Vegeta, put him in the first slot, and we're going to put this Gogeta back whenever we're comfortable with his defense, back in the second slot, and we're going to let him stack attack. As simple as that. We keep going with that literally into the end of the fight. That's it. That is literally the combo. These two, these Super Saiyan 4s, they don't get broken up. They keep going. They keep doing their thing. Goku's always supporting both rotations every single turn. These guys are always going to be stacking. We don't break their... We don't fuse with the Gogeta until... Let's find it. We don't fuse with the Gogeta until... For one, if you just need the damage, do it. But I would not. I would literally sacrifice a run if you have to fuse anywhere before UI Goku. And I am so serious. There is no way with this team, if you stack properly, if you have your rotations, how I describe them, that you can't kill Fat Boo without transforming into Gogeta. Yes, it might be close, but you can do it. You 1000% can do it. You want to fuse either right here. In some cases, I've been able to go past UI Goku and fuse right here in this Super Saiyan Goku form, which is really, really good because we get more stacks and stuff, and we can get our Gogetas looking fancy. But yeah, you don't want to fuse anywhere before Fat Boo. We'll put Fat Boo in there, but realistically, you should not need Gogeta to be Fat Boo. You should be able to do it without Go. You should be able to do it with him just in the base form of Super Saiyan 4s. To be able to do it with just them. 1000%. Now, Kazi, I'm following what you said. I'm getting the 17 key. When do I start getting 20 key for them? For them, remember, it's both of these guys that you want to get 17 key for. Both of them. When do I start getting 20 key for them to start doing damage? Oh, that's easy. Right here. Right here. Phase 41. Phase 41. When the guy has 400 million HP, where in the previous phase he only had 180 and less, that's when you could go ahead and start getting the 20 key and then actually start doing some damage. But anywhere before phase 41, you are a fool if you do anything higher than 17 key. You have the damage. I know it sounds crazy, but you have the damage with that squad to just beat it without having them have to do super effective against all types. And that's a lot to do because of this guy. Like I said, he pumps out wild damage. Crazy damage. Supports wildly. Crazily he supports. So yes, before phase 41, which is this Goku, this is when you start getting 3 turns to beat an enemy. You can go ahead and start doing your 20 key. Anything before that, 17 is the lucky number. For the 7th years, remember, 17 for the 7th years, and 20 for the 10th years. At all times. At all times, you want to try to get 20 with them. Just because it helps with stacks. 20 in either form, whether in their defensive form or their primal form, which is offensive. You get 20 key, you're going to launch an additional super attack. It's as simple as that. Okay. Now that we have that covered, we spoke about that. We have our rotations down and everything. Well, Kazi, when do we transform? Like I said with Gogeta, you want to do it around UI Goku. If you have to do it on Fat Boo, do it on Fat Boo. Anything before then, the run's chalk. 1000% is chalk. These boys, they're going to keep floating forever. When I did mine, I believe I think it was UI Goku. I also transformed them on UI Goku. Do remember though, when you transform with them, I made a little bit of a mistake. I think I could have actually like not transformed with them on UI Goku and been fine on that run. Do remember that these guys are going to be significantly less stats than your Super Saiyan 4s are, because the Super Saiyan 4s literally have like one of the best link partners that they can with that Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and they're gonna like he's gonna make them look so much stronger. But they're also gonna be a main rotation unit. Yes, we had the 7th years on main rotation very, very early in the game, but ever since then we've been floating. Like I said, you're not gonna see like crazy returns on them like right away, like you are this Nameku. You float this guy and he's like, it's almost like he never even left rotation. It's pretty wild. But these guys, yeah, they're gonna be drifting behind a little bit. But they're not gonna get you killed. Not gonna get you killed. You transform when you need the damage. When you will need the damage is roughly right here. UI Goku, Super Saiyan Goku. This is when you'll need the damage. 1000%. This is when you're gonna transform your 7th years. Alright, we spoke about all that. We already understand what's going on right here. I want to go ahead and just play the final moments for our run that we did. This one right here. Probably just want to turn this a little bit. So, as you can see, we started recording as soon as we got into Gogeta. Instantly popped the Whis. We're not playing around. This guy has a 28 million super attack. Scroll down right here. 28 million. What it is 50% of 7, which is 3.5. Add 3.5 to 24, 50. That's going to be 28. Ridiculous monster super, but he can only do it once a turn. That's it. Once a turn. Has a lot of actions too, which is important to remember right here, because this is going to be like a telltale if like Vegeto's going to run his shit or not. Spoiler, he is, because he has so many actions a turn. He's going to throw 14 different attacks. Though all of those except for one is going to be a counter. Yes, there are turns where he doesn't super, but he has a 21% chance, so he's probably always going to super. So 13 actions are going to be counterable with Vegito, which is what we end up doing. But yeah, this is very, very important. I guess we can kind of drift over Daima and Glorio just very, very briefly, because I think this is like actually the hardest part of the fight, unironically. It's literally right before like the big bosses come out. Mainly because you need a little bit of luck. You need a little bit of luck in where these supers are coming from, because it's 2 17s, basically 18 million supers. And these guys, they have a lot of HP. What I found to work best is work on Glorio first. He has a little bit less defense. Work on him first. Try to get your Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta to counter this guy's super attack. Try to get him to counter this Daima super attack. He's going to hit him for wild amounts of damage. So much damage that when you see the damage, in game, it just says 999999999. That's it. It's gonna be a lot. So we're gonna run that up. Try to get the counters. Unfortunately, there are gonna be runs, guys, where you don't get a counter in. Maybe you delay the action. You use your ATQ, you delay the next action, and that action just so happens to be a super. Unfortunately, the run's probably just done. That's it. Also want to note, this Daima and this Glorio, this is when you want to pop your Bomas. You pop your Bomas right here, because one Boma is 5 turns. You have to keep mind that it's only 5 turns. Because you pop it right here, you get 3 turns to beat these guys. You're probably going to use all 3 turns to beat them. That means you only have 2 turns in Gogeta left of that. And then once the 2 turns that are in 2 turns of Vegeta are done, then you're going to go ahead and pop another Boma, and that's going to end the fight. Going to end the fight right there. That does mean you are going to run out of Bulma for Vegito, because 4, and then you do it 2 right here, so 5, 6 turns. The last turn of Vegito, you're not going to have Bulma, but trust me, we'll watch the video in a second. You won't need it. You won't need it. You'll just need it specifically for the Super Gogeta, and then Super Vegito is where we blow our load. We do everything. We do the Gogeta active skill. We do our best Vegito active skill. We do everything there. But yeah, this is going to be like the turn-all point. I would say most people who have played through this event and beat it would say that this is probably like the big hurdle. This is where a lot of people get stuck on. This is where a lot of people lose. So if you lose here, you get stuck on this part, and you actually can't beat it in the time period, or like I said, you lose, you just die. Don't be discouraged. This is really the hardest part of the whole fight. So yeah. So in this form right here is where we're gonna pop our Bulmas. Don't feel bad if you have to use a Whis here. Do not feel bad if you have to use a Whis here. If you have to, just do it and move forward. Going into Gogeta, this is going to be very, very simple. Let's just go ahead and play a little bit of this video right here. As you saw, we instantly popped the Whis. We weren't even playing around. We want to go ahead and get... we have the Whis up right now, so he has guard and damage reduction, so he's not taking any damage. These are 7 million normals, by the way, guys. 7 million normals. So, we have these right here. He's going to raise attack and defense of these guys for multiple turns. So that means this rotation and then the next rotation, which, as you can see, we already have our Vegito because we did, in fact, have to pop our weaker Vegito to beat Daimogoku and Glorio because we got horrific luck and didn't counter one of the super... Well, we didn't counter either of the supers. But thankfully, the supers that were targeting us during that form were on Gogeta. So we had it in the right slot. It's just Gogeta didn't counter. You know, the great chance to counter just didn't happen. Happens. You know, it's just unlucky. That's all it is. So we're going to run through this right here. He's doing his little attacks. We're doing our little attacks. We have this Goku. Oh, that's actually important to note. Do we show this Goku's stats? I don't know if we showed his stat. I don't think we do. But yeah, this Goku, he's sitting pretty. We'll show his stats a little bit later on in the fight. Oh, here we go. So this is what we're sitting at right here. This is turn 2 of Gogeta fight. We have about 4 million on this Vegito. Like I said, we already used, we call it the Vegito's active skill on the previous turn to beat Daimogoku and Glorio. This is our last Vegito right here. This is our last one. We need to save this shit for the next, for the Vegito. We don't need to use it right here. Right here, we're good because we still have this bad boy right here. And if you remember from last turn, we had the Whis. So that means they have 100% damage reduction and guard. So all we really need is them. And then look, we have 4.2 million on our Gogeta right here. It's about 14, was that 141? Or about 14 million attack right there on them as well. Like I said, this Gogeta is going to be super juiced at the end of the fight because he doesn't leave the rotation at all. But yeah, that's going to be it right there. Here, let's put this right here. I wanted to see how much I would get off of this shit when I transformed, and I was like, fuck it, we'll just go ahead and keep it. Important thing to note right here is we transformed to Gogeta. Yes, we only have 4 turns of Gogeta, which is really only 2. You get him for the turn that you have him, and then the next turn, whether you float him off or you continue to keep him on rotation, you'll get that. You'll get that last hit of Gogeta. What we did right here is we transformed, but we did not use the active. We want to save the active, and we want to save this right here. This is our last Vegeta. We want to save this right here. So this is what we do. We're doing some calcs right here. What we do, we put him in the first slot right here. He also has 60% damage reduction and guard. So Whis on top of that is 100%. We have these guys right here. We need to keep them on rotation because the next time that we get this rotation, we're expecting to fight Vegito. So that means we got to take all this HP off. We got to take all that HP off right there. Yep, keep going. Skip through this a little bit. And then we're going to put Vegito in that final slot. What do you call it? I'm trying to think about... this run happened a little bit ago. I think I wanted him in this final slot specifically because he got to attack first. So he got to throw his greatly raising attacks on his U-Supers. And he also gets like all of these. Like he doesn't have to worry about this hitting him or nothing like that. Obviously, it's not going to kill him, but he can't counter the super. He can only counter normal. So this is just like the best DPS rotation. So yeah, that makes perfect sense why I did that now, like looking back at it. But yeah, so we have this, and let's just keep scrolling. Yep. We're just going to keep looking right here. We wanted to make sure that we understood his passive 1000%. I think we click on this too or something like that. Yep. Basically, we're just trying to make sure we had 60% DR. That's it. Because he also gets 5% damage reduction, and he also gets 50% attack per Rainbow Key Spear that you pick up, which will come into play when we do his active skill a little bit later. So yeah, we didn't take any damage right there. We just got super. That's a 28 million super, and we're just going to keep throwing volleys of attacks on him. We're going to do monstrous damage right here. Here's some of the counters. Yep, boom. This is second turn of Vegito, so no active skill turn, and look, he's just damage. We're going to keep moving. And right here, boom. So, we're on our third turn. We have 6 charges left. That means that's 6 actions. We're on our 3rd turn of Gogeta. The first thing we do, here, keep pulling it up. Boom, we pop the other Bulma. That's the first thing that we do. Reason for that is, like I said, when you pop Bulma, as soon as you enter the Damagoku and Glorio fight, you're probably going to take 3 turns to do it, and then that means 2 turns of Gogeta you're going to have Bulma, but then that 6th turn, or that 3rd turn of Gogeta, that'll be 6 turns, so you won't have Bulma anymore. But we're going to pop Bulma, we're going to have Bulma for the rest of the fight. We don't plan on needing, for one, these rest of the turns right here, but we also don't plan on taking like 4 turns to beat Vegito. This is going to be the end of the fight right here. So boom, we pop our last item, and we just fucking ball. So we have this right here. This is a glorious rotation. Now, like I said, this stage does involve a bit of luck. Yes, you can manipulate rotations as well, which is what we did to get this right here. But there's not going to be a lot of times where you can actually afford to manipulate rotations to actually get a really, really pleasurable situation like this. There's not going to be a lot of times. But specifically, that's what happened to us. We were able to manipulate the rotations, and that's because we got extremely lucky, and we were allowed to put cards in slots where they really shouldn't be. We were allowed, to put cards in slots where they shouldn't be because they weren't supering in that slot. Whereas if they were super in that slot, we'd have to put somebody else there. That's just how the fight goes for a lot of this. So as you can see, boom, he's less than 50% HP because we used the rest of our Vegito on the last turn. We got a whole bunch of counters, a whole bunch of crits on there. We got a whole bunch of damage down too because we transformed our Gogeta. Look at the situation that we're in. Dokkan bar is almost there. We have both of our active skills up. Now what do? We also have this guy right here. At this point, he's a detriment. We don't have Whis anymore. That's our last Bulma. Basically, he's just a sitting duck. So we're going to say, screw it. We're going to keep these 2 on rotation just in case we need a little bit more damage if we don't kill Vegito in this next turn. But we're going to kill them because we've been stacking all game with him and most of the game with him, him on and off with being on the main rotation and then being on the floater side. So, boom, we hit him with that active skill. And then we're going to put him in the 2nd slot right here so we can get all these links right here like Sand, Roar, and stuff like that. We picked up orbs too, which was another big thing right here. The reason why we pick up orbs right here with him after we do it is because we want to get this Dokkan meter. We don't even want to play around. We want to make sure we get as much as we can because we are fully expecting to kill him right here. Boom. Pop his skill, we kill him. That's it. We pop this guy's skill. He's right next to like his partner, his partner in crime, his favorite person in the whole world. Boom, we kill him. Perfect. Now we move into the final turn of Vegeta. I'm just going to let this whole one play. Boom. Instantly pop the active skill for Gogeta. We're going to get the massive support. Perfect. Does so much damn damage. All we see are 9s on our screen. What do you call it? We're just reading through all of our passives. At this point, it's GG. This point is GG. We're just making sure that we have, all of like our DPS in check. So as you can see right there, what we did was we closed app. When you close app, it resets like the whole rotation. Doing this is actually really, really important for another trick that I guess I'll have to explain now. But why we did that is because we actually made a little bit of a mistake. So immediately we were a little bit like overzealous with this. We popped his active skill. We actually were missing, we were missing, when we popped his active skill, look at our rotation. We actually hadn't used Vegito yet. The reason why this was kind of like a messed up thing to do was because we were missing the Fuse Fighter link, which he gets with Gogeta when he's in Vegito, but he doesn't have Fuse Fighter in Goku form. So we did that, realized what we did. We were like, okay, we can get a little bit more damage, and then we just redid the turn. With the Fuse Fighter. Where are you at? There. Yeah, we just redid the turn with the Fuse Fighter. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead. Boom, we're gonna do this first. Boom, we're gonna transform. Now we have the Fuse Fighter link. Yeah, we're just making sure we have all of the link skills up. Now we have Fuse Fighter right there. Boom. Come on, come on. There's the damage. You can see it did a little bit more damage. Not a whole lot, but a little bit more, as you can see. We just want to make things optimal at this point because you do not want to have to reset the fight right here. I don't... you'll see. this doesn't matter that we do this much extra, but like just in case it did, you know, rather be safe than sorry at this point in the game. Here, sorry, I was link leveling. Boom, we're gonna let it play out. We're gonna use his active skill. We need to use his effect first because he's gonna give us support. Boom, we're gonna pop the active skill. We're good to go. This is done. Let me see. Defense, let me see the defense. Come on. Look at it. That is 23 million defense on this Goku. We don't have to worry about him. We won't have to worry about him at this point because of this monster defense. Look at his defense as well. That's like 16 or 18, I think. Sorry, it's really, really small. That's how many numbers are right there. When he uses his active skill, it's a taunt. So we don't have to worry about either of these two. We don't really care about the stats, but look at his stats. Monstrous 23. Like right here, first attack. All of these attacks are gonna hit him. We're gonna put him in the first slot. We're gonna say fuck it and ball. As you remember, we were really, really close. Yeah, right there is when we click on it. And we get really, really happy right there because we figured out that we can give him like a whole bunch of orbs and it just like precipitously raises his attack stat. So right there, boom, four orbs right there. And then we pull it up and we're like making sure, we're like, hold up, we just made the damn move. Right here is this last Goku. Here, I want to just show that right there. Yeah, get a little happy right there with those 4 orbs. Keep going, keep going. And then we're gonna start picking up our orbs. That's what it was. Sorry, I skipped a little bit ahead. Boom, we're gonna play for that. We get our 4 orbs right here. That's like 200% attack on this Gogeta, who, remember, this guy was on the rotations forever. And primarily, he was in Vegeta form, which is where he's greatly raising his attack. While we had our Vegetas, like, in the first slot, our Vegetos in the first slot being Vegeta form, raising their defense, he was, like, getting ridiculous, greatly raising attack. So he's gonna do monstrous damage. Excuse me, not Vegito damage, but monstrous damage. And then we have this Goku at the end. At this point in the game, he's built. You know, he's been doing really, really good with stacking. Like, you can just see the stats. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Boom, we're going to move forward. Go ahead and play it. We're going to lock in right here and get all the Dokkan attack. Remember, we edged the Dokkan meter right for this point in the game. A part of the reason why we did the double active skill 2 on the last turn, you know, I would have loved to have saved that just in case, you know, we needed a little bit more oomph on the turn after this to actually kill Vegito. But I was fairly confident if we just got to the Vegito phase with all that we had left in the tank, which was our multiple, which was our Vegito, our Vegito's active, and then our Gogeta's active as well, and then our final turn of Gogeta. Like, I was fairly confident that this was gonna work out if I just got to this point too, and then also with our final Bulma as well. Like, everything worked out perfectly in the end. A lot of what I want to say too, while we just like kind of end this video. I'm sorry, this video is extremely long, but we covered everything, I believe. Yeah, we covered everything, I believe. When you get to phase, the phase that I pointed out, which was that Int LR Super Saiyan for Goku. When you get to that phase, that's phase 41. That's when you could start. That's when you take 3 turns now, or you can take 3 turns to beat enemies. When you get to that phase, what you need to do 1000% is you have multiple cards on the teams that have scouter effects. So if you transform to Gogeta, you have a scouter. You can see what the super attacks are. If you get to phase 41 plus, every single turn, do that. As you saw, we closed app. All you have to do to look at the scouter effect and to deform basically back is you get the scouter, which you transform into Gogeta or into Vegito. Look at where the super attack is. It'll tell you. Just look at the little bubbles on the bottom where you see the little characters. It'll tell you super attack right here. Like right there, we saw the super attack is in the 2nd slot, and we have another super attack in the 3rd slot for this rotation right here on screen. Super attack right there, super attack right there. You'll see that. Close the application on your phone. Boot it back up. Resume your previously closed session. It'll pop up. Boom, click on it. You come back, your entire rotation is reset. That's what we had did earlier when we had messed up and we didn't get the Fuse Fighters link when we used the active skill for Gogeta. Do that every single turn. You do that every turn because you know exactly where the super attack is and you could play accordingly to it. Because you won't always have a scouter effect up unless you have Gogeta, the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta out, and that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta only gives you the Scouter on his turn. It's an indefinite Scouter, but it's only when he's on rotation. You're not always going to have him on rotation. But you will always have either that Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, or you'll always have either your Vegito floating, or you'll have your Gogeta on one of your main rotations floating. Yeah, that's important to know. You have to understand that you need to make sure you know exactly where these super attacks are, and you have all of the resources to do it, because when you transform with either of these 10th year LRs, which you will have on any single turn, any given turn, you will have it. You get the Scouter. So boom, we went ahead and beat it right here. Go ahead and pop it up. See the little stupid thing. Took us 2 hours and 53 minutes to beat it. Obviously, we weren't locked in the entire time. We were like I said, it's very, very mind numbing. So oh yeah, you get the title. What do you call it? But this is basically what we ended up with. We have our main Gogeta, our Vegetos. We have our 7th years. We have our Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and then we have the Nameku right here, and then we have the friend right here, Rainbowed Vegito. We have the Goku support memory. We have here's the Bulma that I was talking about earlier, and this is the Whis. This is what you want. This is exactly the layout that you want. Yes, there's probably better teams out there. Yes, there's teams out there that can beat it without using items, but if you want a no-nonsense, no-headache run, this is it. Like I said, I'm very, very sorry to a lot of the new players. I understand it's a very, very tall order to ask for not just, what do you call it, one of the 10th years, but 3 of them on one team. I know, it's unfortunate, but that is, when they said only a certain amount of people are going to be able to beat this event, they really did mean it. This event is very, very artificially difficult. There's a lot of hurdles that you have to get over. There's a lot of checkpoints. Last thing I just want to talk about before I go ahead and let you guys go are like some of the checkpoints for difficulty. These are like these are the checkpoints that I found when I was doing my runs that I was like, okay, let me lock in for a second. Kid Buu nullifies damage reduction for or nullifies damage for unarmed super attacks. A couple of our cards actually do have unarmed super attacks, but it's okay. Just make sure that you know that it nullifies unarmed super attacks. Unarmed super attacks are the little punchies. Where are they? Little punchies right here. That's all it is. If this little icon is on your super attack, it's an unarmed super attack. So we have the Kid Buu is going to be the first one. This is just like, these aren't difficult bosses. These are just bosses where you kind of got to lock in or else you can get like caught. Every other boss is like pretty straightforward. You're not going to need to really think a whole lot about it before phase 41, which is right here. Like this isn't the next checkpoint. This Goku is actually the next checkpoint because he nullifies Ki Blast Supers. A lot of your cards actually do Ki Blast Supers on this team. A lot of them. Key right there, 12 key, 18 key. These guys are good. These guys actually both don't have Ki Blast, which is really, really good. And you don't have them either. Even though you do the Kamehameha, it's not a Ki Blast. It's whatever the heck this little thing is. I'm not quite sure what they call this actually. Yeah. So that's just mental note. Kid Buu, he nullifies a type of super attack. Let me go figure it out. Boom, unarmed. Next one is going to be this Goku, literally right before, it's phase 40, so right before phase 41 when you actually have to lock in. From this point of the fight onwards, you have to stay locked in. Because this guy, Nullify Ki Blast, he has like next to no HP, so you can just like run his shit, like no diff him. But this guy for sure is when you have to start locking in because this is when the big damage starts coming through. I found myself actually like catchable with these guys right here, especially if we didn't stack up a whole lot. What do you call it, in previous rotations. Specifically getting caught not with the Vegito form of him, but with this form of him, because when you get to this form of him, he's only raising his defense once. Only raises his defense once for that turn. And what do you call it? He only has 40% DR. And he's actually type weak against this Goku. So like him, you can actually get caught right here, catch a little bit of damage. You don't really need to worry about them. This Goku could actually do some pretty significant damage, but I haven't been caught by him. He does good damage. He breaks the the 4.5 pretty much threshold. But you're just really not worried about him. There's nobody really that you have is gonna get you caught. It was just specifically for this guy because he has 3.3. You can actually get caught with these guys if you haven't stacked up enough defense in them. Specifically the floating version of him, so the Goku. And Beast Gohan, this super attack, Um, he always will super attack, as you can see right here. The second turn, remember you have 3 turns to beat these guys. At this point in the fight, the second turn, the very last attack. This honestly doesn't catch me a lot because my floaters are usually these guys by this time in the fight, and this guy by this time in the fight, and then this guy's where is he? And then this guy by this time of the fight. And normally he has enough defense, but specifically it's with the 40% damage reduction that actually makes this doable. But yeah, these guys, he's not getting caught. He's not getting caught by him, and he's definitely not getting caught by this Gohan at this stage in the fight. But just know it's going to be in the final attack. It's going to be in the 3rd slot on the 2nd turn that you see him, and then what do you call it? On the final turn on the 3rd turn, it's not going to super attack at all. So you really only have to deal with one 6 million super attack. It's really not devastating, honestly. Like you're at this point in the game, you're what 41, 42, 43, 44 phases in. Your gods are going to be stacked up. They're probably going to be sitting around like 6 million. They're probably going to be sitting around 6 million, maybe a little bit higher, a little bit lower. And then, yeah, your Goku's going to be chilling at like 10. And I'm not kidding. Your Goku's probably going to be like 9 or 10 million. Just chilling your Nameku. Fat Boo actually can catch this guy pretty hard on the rotation. Like I said, we're going to be floating these guys off after we get them just a little bit of defense, pretty much mid-game. So yeah, he can actually catch you because he has type effectiveness. And he's also an extreme unit. I heavily recommend, final recommendation, Dokkan damage calculator. Definitely recommend this. It's literally just Dokkan damage calculator .netify.app. That's gonna be the link to it pretty much. You get on the Dokkan calc, easy shit. You got guard, boom, put guard. Does he crit? Boom, put crit. You know what I'm saying? Like Dokkan mode, boom, put the Dokkan mode. Like this could work with you doing attacks on other people, like bosses and stuff like that, or like you, for example, I use it specifically to see where my characters are going to take. So right here is a Gogeta normal. So the last calc that I did was right here, AGO Gogeta Super. This is his normal attack, 7 million. Some character I had, this is the Goku. This is the Goku. This is the last phase before I transformed to Vegeta. That was the last calc I did. He had about 4.4 million defense. The attack was a 700 or 7 million attack. We had 40% damage reduction. It was AGL super attack. We were good. They don't have guard. We were good in every single category except if the unit was AGL. So if my Goku was AGL, which he's was STR, which he's not, he's tech, he would have took 800k. Very, very simple thing to use. You can use it in a couple ways. You can use it to see how much you'll do to somebody or how much they'll do to you. I like using it how much they'll do to me. Use all the resources that you have available to you because you do not want to get 2.5 hours in a fight and fucking lose to these bozos. You don't. Absolutely don't. But yeah, guys, this is another big checkpoint right here. I'd say, like I said, right here, lock in. Last checkpoint to lock in. And you're like eyes glued to the phone for the rest of this fight. It really doesn't get too much difficult until you hit this hurdle or this hurdle once you get past phase 41. And then I would say when you realistically when you should start thinking about transforming people is around like this, around this era. Like I said, this Boo, UI, Goku, you really can't go wrong transforming on any 3 of these. But I just really want to make a note. Like, please don't transform your Gogeta on Majin Buu. Don't. You can do it 1000%. You could do it without the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Transform the Gogeta on here if you have to. There's actually been a couple of cases where I got really lucky and I didn't actually have to transform to beat this guy because he wasn't dodging as much as he could. He has a 10% chance to dodge, which is fairly annoying, but I just got really lucky. And I actually got to transform right here. In the run that I saw you where we beat it, we actually did transform right here. So, you know, you can't go wrong transforming like right here or right here with Gogeta, but I would say like transforming right here with Gogeta is just not necessary at all. It's really not. But yeah, transforms right here. This is when you should start thinking about transform for everybody. Right here is where you want to transform your first Vegito. I recommend you transform your weakest Vegito. In our case, that was the friend unit Vegito at the time, which is like wild to think like, oh, I only have a 55% and he had a rainbow one. We had just stacked up more with my Vegito. That's just how it is. That's just how the rotations went. we just stacked up more than we did with the other ones, so went ahead and transformed them first. You want to go ahead and use your active skill right away with the Vegito for your transform one right here. Ideally, you want to do this in either the second turn that you fight Damagoku or the third. Meaning that if you go into the rotation and you have your Vegito unlocked ready that you want to transform with, don't do it on the first appearance. No, play out that turn, play out the second turn, because on the third turn it'll be your last turn, and then that's when you could decide, okay, I need to transform my Vegito right now. Because you only get 2 turns of Vegito. So you don't want to use your 2 turns of Vegito on this Damagoku and Gloria phase. You want to transform to that Vegito that you are going to transform to on the second turn or the third turn of Damagoku and Gloria. I think that's the last note. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, video took a long time. Definitely could have spoke quicker, but we covered everything. We covered it. It's the most artificially difficult fight in the entire game. More cards are gonna come out that make this look like child's play, 1000%. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's all that we had to cover. We covered everything that we wanted to cover. Best of luck to everybody that tries to do this. This event's gonna be here forever. Don't worry if you can't beat it right now. You will eventually be able to beat it. You will get your nice little tag and stuff like that. But yeah, guys, best of luck to you all. If you are going to be trying for runs, like I said, it's going to be very, very boring. You're going to want to like sideline the game until you get to this Goku. After this Goku is when you can start focusing in. But please, please focus on your rotations. Please, please, please go back in the video. What do you call it? If you already forgot the rotations that I recommended and stuff, because I know we explained that like what 30 minutes ago. Go back in the video to use those rotations. Use the items that I recommended. Use the support member of the Goku's family for the reason that I recommended it for. And yeah, that's gonna be it for the video, guys. Next content that we do is probably gonna be some challenge runs. I'm gonna try to get the no item run done for this this event as well. We're gonna try to upload that. And I think after we do the no item run, we're gonna try to do the run with the double Gogeta leads, the 7th year LRs. So no double Vegetas, but double Gogeta. I think that's gonna be really fun as well. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you all later.